So the Straw Hat Pirates have finally reached Alabasta. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here, and it's a little bit more peaceful than I was expecting when they got there. I thought it was going to be all-out chaos during the Civil War, but of course, there are the towns on the outskirts that have still got some civilization, still markets open, all that sort of stuff that are run by the citizens of Alabasta and things like that. I just thought it would be absolute carnage, but there's still some hope in terms of the fact that not everybody is fighting right now. There's still a little bit of peace to be had, it seems like, before everything sort of kicks off. And that gives Vivi a bit of hope as well. However, something that's intrigued me quite a lot happened in this episode where Luffy is looking for food in the desert. He bumps into this old man. Well, he's in a hut and he has a bunch of this green powder called dancing powder. And when Luffy burns it, it starts raining from the sky. And the old man informs Luffy that Alabasta has a history of drought. It's a desert island pretty much, and it's very rare that it rains. And lately it's been terrible. It's been really bad. It hasn't rained at all. And he informs Luffy that the world government have now outlawed dancing powder as well. So nobody can even make artificial rain. If that was legal, they could potentially stop droughts and all that sort of stuff. But I wonder if this is part of Crocodile's doing, how he works with the government. He's one of the 7 warlords. I wonder if there's some sort of involvement with him in terms of banning the dancing powder in order to get more control over Alabasta or something like that. It just would not surprise me if that was the case at all. It would just be another form of being able to control the people, with the fact that, they're not going to be able to get water. They're not going to be able to grow anything. They're not going to be able to get any, fresh water or water at all, so it does beg the question: is Crocodile involved in the banning of the dancing powder? And if not, why has it been banned in the first place? That also begs the question: why did this old man have it? Well, he must have smuggled it in from somewhere, and he said he was going to try and sell water to people, because he knows there's going to be a massive drought. There's going to be a huge lack of water for everybody, so he's going to try and sell it to people. Which, I mean, is pretty fucked up, but it's quite smart business if you ask me. Even Luffy thought he was quite smart for that. Also in this episode, Chopper and Sanji go shopping to get some equipment and clothes for the Straw Hats to go further into Alabasta, and Chopper ends up in a situation where he overhears some talk from the rebel army, specifically a guy called Koza. I don't know if he's the leader or just a higher up or just a member of the rebel army, but he says they have so many members now that they're struggling with food and all that sort of stuff, and water, I'm assuming. So they say their next attack, he says their next attack has got to decide the battle. It's got to decide the fate of Alabasta. So that means, whatever the next attack is, it's going to be huge. And I mean, that basically lines up with what Crocodile was saying about tomorrow being like the biggest day in the history of the Baroque work sort of thing. So I don't know if that's a coincidence. I just feel like it lines up too perfectly with what Crocodile was saying on the phone to Sanji about the most important day of the Baroque works happening in Alabasta, and then all of a sudden the rebel army needs to do this final attack because they're running out of food and water. I don't know, it all lines up a bit too perfectly for me. I feel like this must all be orchestrated by Crocodile. He's obviously a very smart man and he knows what he's doing. So I feel like this is all about control, all about getting power, and all about manipulation on Crocodile's end. I want to know what the fuck this dude is doing. Also, a bit of a side note, something that I realized in this episode, which I thought was really cool, is the main cast, the Straw Hats, always have appropriate clothes in terms of where they are. So obviously they're in the desert right now, so they have desert clothes. And in Drum Island, they had like winter clothes. And when they were on, Little Garden, I'm pretty sure they're all wearing different clothes as well. Like, I love the fact that their clothes actually change depending on what environment and what island they go to. I just think that's cool. You don't see that in a lot of shows. A lot of the times the main cast in anime just have the same clothes constantly, and then they change every now and then. But in One Piece, they seem to adapt their environment a little bit in terms of what they wear, and I just think that's a great detail. I think it adds a lot of character and a lot of just sort of like flavor to the world, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm super excited. We're finally on Alabasta. I think there's a lot that's about to go down, and I can't wait to see it. So let's do it.